Spencer and Austin are hanging out with a Super Bowl champion and BYU All-American Dennis Pitta, guys.
That's an appropriate welcome for Dennis, is it not? He just asked me, how do you guys live in this? It's way too cold. Dennis coming from Southern California.
That's a good question. I came from Southern California. It was 65 and sunny today. I flew in just now, got here, and I'm freezing.
Well, listen, Dennis was a little bit huskier back in the day, okay? So he was a little bit, you know, he was able to deal with it a little bit better than he is now.
Coming from a guy who's wearing a 4X jacket right now. I mean.
I'd like to point out that these are great teammates, right? The best friends. They didn't have a conversation about this. They wore the same sweatshirt underneath the jackets.
Great minds think alike.
It's a nice layering piece. Yeah,
perfect.
We were thinking alike. And it's more of kind of like I'm Austin's best friend, but he's not my best friend kind of thing. So,
you cool with that?
I mean,
the transaction there.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's fine.
All right, let's talk.
Find a hotel tonight, buddy.
I am staying at his house tonight. So
let's talk some football with the guys that know what a big game is, and they both played in the Super Bowls for crying out loud. But Dennis, we're going to start with you. You've played with the pressure of being in a nationally ranked team, a top 10 team, undefeated. What's that like with the growing spotlight, and how do you handle it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a good contrast between Austin and I. I've won a Super Bowl. He has not. Yeah. So
yeah.
I didn't want to just gloss over that.
You're hitting all the bad spots right now, Spencer. Jeez.
I mean, he teed that up for me.
He did.
Yeah.
The softball.
I mean, we could talk about the difference between like the after parties when you win the Super Bowl versus when you lose.
Wow.
We don't need to go into
Relentless. Okay, killer mentality right there, Dennis. So how does BYU take that tonight with the pressure on?
Yeah, listen, I mean, you're 9-0, and you're 9-0 for good reason. You've played great football throughout the course of the season. You just got to stick to what you've been doing. And, you know, I think there was a couple times at some point when we were here at BYU, we were undefeated. And, you know, you don't think about it. You block that stuff out. You're just so focused on the next opponent, on having a great practice, on going to class. And there's so many different things that you're worried about. You're not necessarily worried about, oh, we're 9-0. We can't lose this game. I never felt that way. And, you know, you feel a little bit of pressure. Man, this is a big game. You get to play in this awesome stadium at night with a lot at stake. I mean, that's what you sign up for when you come and play in big-time football games like this. And so I think BYU is going to play loose, relaxed. They're going to kind of take on the mentality of their head coach. He's always loose and relaxed to me. He's walking through the stadium dancing and having fun with everybody. And so I just think they're going to be in a good headspace, good mentality.
Oh, you agree with Austin in that regard, Austin, because you said, look, I expect the guys to be ready to roll. Why are you so confident in this BYU team tonight?
Listen, I think we've had and have been challenged time and time again, right? I think last week against Utah, that's a game-defining or season-defining moment where you're playing against a team, especially on the offensive side of the ball, right, where there's been a lot of maybe doubt about what the offense is capable of. But time and time again, man, Oklahoma State against Utah, you're down and out, or you're thinking you're down and out, and they make the big play in the big moment, right? And that's the difference between great teams and good teams. Teams that are 9-0 and maybe 7-2, right, are the ones that are going to be able to show up where things maybe the ball bounces your way, but that's only because of the preparation that you put in and week out, doing the small things, and not letting the moment get too big or be overwhelming, which I think a lot of that falls on Jake and what he's been capable of doing. He's only getting better, and he's only getting more confident as time has gone on. And when you have a quarterback, especially in college football, that has that much confidence, that's hard to beat.
Dennis, this is a unique scenario because BYU is 6 games better than Kansas, but only a 2.5-point favorite on their home field. But then you look at what Kansas is. I mean, their offense is playing its best football of the season. They're getting healthy on defense. So what gives you the most concern about what Kansas brings to the game tonight?
Well, I think Kansas is a talented football team. I mean, anybody that doesn't see that, I don't think knows what they're looking at. And so, yeah, their record isn't great, but this is a team with a ton of talent, a team that was supposed to be, top of the conference before the season began. And so, they've been battle tested. They've had to overcome adversity and challenges and all kinds of different stuff. They're probably a much better football team having gone through what they went through throughout the course of the season today than they would have ever been had they, won a bunch of games. And so I think this is a dangerous team, and I think it's a team that BYU is going to take very seriously. You hope that, there's not a lull from the emotional highs of Utah last week. It's human nature to kind of do that, but I'm sure the messaging in the locker room and everything that they talked about this week was we got to put that behind us, and we got to focus on the next game, the next opponent, the next practice. I mean, football is such a preparation game. the week of practice is far more important, in my opinion, than sometimes the game is. And so, each day at practice, the focus, the urgency needs to be there, and I'm sure it was this week, and I think they're going to be ready to play.
Dennis, we appreciate you braving the cold to be here, man.
I am braving
What
it.
a
It's
huge
freezing.
sacrifice.
I need to go back in the tent and get in the heater. And I'm probably
Dennis
going
is
to try to
gonna
get
be
in some
watching-
kind of a suite tonight.
Dennis is going to be watching the entire game from the Cougar room.
Yeah,
over there.
Whatever's inside, that's where I'll be.
As we throw it back to this, I need you to say something nice about Austin.
No, it's okay.
Hey.
Listen, listen.
Austin's my best friend.
The guys that look up to the other ones. Some of us had to leave early to let the others shine. You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
That's true. That's true. I will say, Austin's my best friend.
Hey,
he knows that.
Thank you. Checks in the mail, buddy.
Yeah.
Let's go. Hey, great to have you here, Dennis.